Terve!
Terve!
Moi!
Tervetuloa!
Kiitos.
Welcome to Algorytmi, Elena Mindru.
Nice to be here.
Nice to be here. Yeah, this is how a Finn would say your name, Elena Mindru. But how do you say it in your native country, Romania?
You would say it Elena Mindru.
Mindru.
That E is U. It's like a. It also you can find this glottal vowel also in Portuguese.
Okay.
U ja O, and it means proud.
Proud. Okay.
Ylpeä.
Elena Mindru, proud. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I only had short Romanian studies at school. You know.
And you didn't go through this yet.
Yeah. The minimum of
The
Romanian.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, nice to see you and nice to talk to you. As usual, we start with music. Your first pick is nothing less than Le Sacre du Printemps. I don't speak French either, but the Rite of Spring.
That was very close.
Yeah.
Le Sacre du Printemps.
Oh, that's right. Okay, yeah.
The Rite of
also
Spring.
very short French studies
Yeah.
at school. And the last movement, the sacrificial dance. Let's stick with English. So, what's your connection with this piece?
Well, when I was about maybe 22, I was in my last year of studies, or almost, three and a half years of my classical composition studies with Adrian Pop in Cluj, in my hometown, at the music academy there. And in the last part, we studied orchestral works, and we also had to write something that our final thesis had to be for orchestra.
Yeah.
So at that time, we were studying. We took a lot of examples, and we were during this period, beginning of the 19th century, the 20th century, and we studied Le Sacre du Printemps. And I was very fascinated by the way Stravinsky uses the rhythms, like to see them and to analyze the harmonies and the dissonances, and this energy that he's transmitting through music and through the way he orchestrates, like the very raw energy. And especially about this subject where you have to sacrifice a young, fertile girl or woman for the benefit of the whole society. And for me, as a 22-year-old young woman, it was, it made me rethink. Of course, we always think and we find these things like subjects around us in the society, but it made me think how the woman has been, again, sacrificed. And since it's a programmatic music, this one, how it inspired him, or how it made him want to write a music about this, and then especially a ballet. That's and for that time, of course, it was very controversial, and I think it was a strong statement to bring this. Of course, it was the music itself; it was a strong statement, but for me also this story behind, and then the elders being around. That I just pictured and thought about this picture, like how the elders are watching this young maiden dance.
So did you actually see the ballet while you were studying? Or?
No, we were listening. Actually, we were listening. I saw the ballet by myself.
Yeah.
We didn't actually. I've never seen the ballet live. Actually.
Oh. Okay.
Yes, unfortunately. But we studied. We always had the score in front of us. We looked at the score and we looked more at the music.
Yeah.
But we talked also about this other the meta text and the meta information.
The many jazz musicians are nuts about this composition because I mean some of the phrases that the oboe or the trumpet or whatever are playing, they are kind of like little jazz phrases here and there, and there are the repetitive rhythms, and so I know many people, Severi Pyysalo for instance, who is totally crazy about this piece, and when it was performed at the National Ballet here, I think they had 8 performances. He sat through all of them.
Wow.
He was there. So it is a fantastic piece, and there's so much there's so much to learn from that.
Yeah.
Learn about the harmonics and rhythms and the way he writes. You do know that he took some of the Russian melodies.
Yes.
I mean, they are.
And actually, that's also one thing about this score and about this piece and about the next one. Actually, how you take a bit your influenced and inspired by the national folklore, which is also present in my music. At that time, I chose to write a suite for orchestra as my final work called Around the World, and I had this morning in Africa, and then I had noon in Japan, and then I ended with evening in Romania. So it was very influential also because of that. Like, how do you take this folklore and include it, you put it into a classical piece? Well, a classical from the writing point of view, maybe form point of view, but written for an orchestra where classical musicians read the charts.
That's right. Yeah. It's it's a system that you can use. Also, you can take something from Finnish national music, and many people have done that, and I think many people will do it in the future.
Totally, we also have done that.
Yeah. Your second pick is I don't even try to pronounce George
Enescu.
Oh, it's much easier than I thought.
Yes.
Enescu.
Yes.
I was thinking of something like Enescu. Okay, Rhapsody Romana, number 1. I'm not sure if I found the right piece in Spotify, but I end up listening lots of Enescu. Very romantic and very melodic. Is this like the Finlandia for your people?
Yeah,
Romanian
could be.
people?
Yes, yeah. This could be like Finlandia, and then there's the Romanian poem, and I think all the suites that he wrote, they are also very well known. But this is maybe one of the most well known because he also uses very much clearly, and nobody's hiding. Like he borrows folk music and the themes, and he reinterprets them and reharmonizes, and of course little bits of this and that comes here and there, and the wind instruments, the way he uses the oboes and the clarinets in the begining of this Romanian Rhapsody.
Oh, then it was the right piece.
It was the right, I'm sure. And I chose that. He's Romania's Sibelius, let's say. So we also have a very nice festival in Bucharest when they gather every 2 years, all the orchestras around the world. So it's an orchestra festival. But this piece at the same time, so we also had a look at this one, again for that moment what I was writing, and then I used actually one well-known blestem called like a curse tune or like theme in my piece in that evening in Romania. And then I made a quintet version of that, and actually my first album in Finland was called Evening in Romania, and I played it with my Finnish quintet. So because you asked like how was, or like an example that was influential, so this went further from there. It developed on, and I did a big band version, and of course then a symphony orchestra version where it's a singer, because in the beginning I didn't have a jazz trio and a singer. It was purely for a symphony orchestra.
Yeah. So you're not hiding your Romanian roots at all.
No.
You're exploring them into the fullest capacity. Yeah, which is good. Would you tell a little bit like how was it growing up in Romania? I see that the village is called Cluj-Napoca.
Yes, Cluj-Napoca.
Cluj-Napoca. So J is J. Okay.
Yes.
All right. What was your first encounter to music in Cluj-Napoca?
In Cluj-Napoca. Well, my first vivid memory, it was when I was around 7. My parents, before that I showed an interest, according to my parents, in singing and in music, both in the kindergarten and at home, in the shower.
Yeah, okay. Singing all the time.
All the time. And then they thought that, let's put her in this kids contest called Tip Top Mini Top.
Okay.
And I sang there this Vine Vine Primavera, which is like spring is coming, acoustically. And that was my first encounter with the stage, being on stage, and I thought, well, this is a place where I would like to be, and I feel very well here. And
no stage fright.
No stage fright.
Okay.
So that was a total benefit for me, an advantage all the time. That no stage fright. Sometimes I have this place fright when I'm in a little place with one person, but on a stage in front of thousands of people, there's no
Doesn't
problem.
matter. Okay.
Yeah. So that was when I was around 7, and then
was it a cappella?
Yes, a cappella.
A cappella. Okay. Yeah.
And I won. I think all the kids won, but my parents told me that, in this kids contest. But it made me feel good about it, and they thought that I should also learn an instrument. So they put both me and my brother. At that time, we were only 2. Later on, we got a little sister as well. But we started violin lessons. Mm-hmm. Well, we went to the music school. I think I wanted to play the piano, but I remember one teacher looking at my fingers, and she said, your fingers are not so suitable for piano, they're better for violin. And I was like, well, okay, well. And she said, when a bit later you can also start piano. But actually it was that thing that for every main instrument that was not a piano for those students, you had to start in the 5th grade also piano as a secondary instrument. So that's why she was tricking me into the thing.
Okay.
So then we started to find sounds on the violin, which was actually very beneficial for my ear and for I think as a singer it helped me a lot.
Yeah.
Lately I haven't been having time to practice because of kids and life and everything that's going on. But so that was it. But it was classical music. And then there was also the music school choir. I sang there in the beginning until the 5th grade, when also we all had to also be part of the orchestra, because by that time we got some skills to be able to play there.
Yeah.
But I continue both with the choir and a bit with the orchestra. And in the choir I got some solo places, and then as I grew up and then my sound developed, then at some point a teacher, when I was maybe in the 8th grade, told me that your voice sounds very much like Aura Urzicianu's voice, which is a Romanian jazz singer.
Okay.
And I was like, did you hear about her? And actually I heard about my father had a vinyl collection, and at that time we had this vinyl player, he had like very many types, many genres, like classical, Michael Jackson, Strauss, and this Aura Urzicianu, and a lot of kids stories. But I listened to Aura.
Okay.
I listened before, but then I connected. Okay, yeah, and that it was a jazz singer. Okay, and then he said you should also maybe listen to Ella Fitzgerald and Louis Armstrong, and then they recommended me to go to another school where this jazz trumpet player or a trumpet player who's still alive, and he's 80, maybe 86, but he's very strongly going on.
Okay.
Stefan Vona, he's initiating kids and actually adolescents and young people into jazz music.
Okay.
So it was more like this pop jazz oriented.
But did you ever meet Aura?
Yes.
You did?
Yes, I met Aura. She at that time she emigrated, I think in the 73 to the United States.
Okay.
And she got married with the drummer whose last name was Raleigh.
Yeah.
And actually because she got to play in Duke Ellington's band, to tour with them, to meet Ella Fitzgerald, and I think also with Count Basie and with Quincy Jones for sure. Romania is proud of her as a jazz singer, and she's a wonderful model. She's still alive. She turns 80, I think, this year.
In the States?
In the States,
okay.
Yeah. She went every now and then in Romania, but I think now she's retired from the performing live.
Okay. Yeah, I've heard the name. Yeah, she's been around.
She's been around,
definitely. Yeah.
But I met her once. Now, when you say, so I won another competition with the tune of hers, Dor de Viață. It's Lust for Life, translated in English.
Yeah.
And actually, then they invited, after I won that show with that her tune. Actually, it's her composition. It was a pop music tune, not a jazz.
Yeah.
They invited me in a show, and I was surprised for her. It was this kind of. She was at that time in Romania. I think she was 70, and then I appeared and I sang that song. It was, for me, it was a very big thing.
Of course.
And
of course.
I was 15 or 16, something like that. So you can imagine I was like super excited.
Yeah. And how did you get out abroad to study? I mean, you've been in many places. You've been to Denmark, and did you get government support, or did your family support you, or you just went?
I just went, and I also first actually. This was a positive thing that you're talking about. Before that, I tried, during high school when I was maybe 18, I applied for Berklee College of Music.
Yeah.
I got in, but they offered me 50% tuition or like a scholarship. Which was $25,000, which they offered, and they said you need to have around 48 or 50,000, so you have to demonstrate that you have the rest of the 50%. And I didn't have them, and my parents did not have them, and I thought at that moment that it seems very expensive. What about for 1 year and then 4 year, like $100,000? It's a lot of money when I can study for free in my own country. So then I started to think about the music academy in Cluj, and I pursued with composition, and I had to take lessons in harmony and counterpoint and continue, because I had a little break. I studied a bit programming and mathematics, but after that,
let me interrupt. How did you apply to Berklee? Did you go for audition, or was it the video? You went there?
Yeah, I went not to the US. They had auditions in Europe in different places, and you could choose where you want to go.
All right.
And I went 2 times, actually. Once in Nancy in France. I had an exchange with my high school by that time, and when I saw that Nancy it's possible, then I went. But then I had a call back, and I went to Paris. It was easier to fly there.
Oh, so they're going around Europe.
At that time,
picking up customers.
But at that time, I don't remember. I didn't actually look it up, but they didn't have the Spain school yet.
Oh,
so because they didn't offer that, and I don't remember when they opened it.
So there's Berklee Spain. Now.
There is that has been in Valencia for a while. So they have a teaching point in
there.
Yes,
interesting.
It was actually I think it's called Berklee Valencia.
Berklee Valencia. Wow. So many schools, so many opportunities. All right. Sorry about the interruption. Then you started studying classical.
I studied classical composition, but I always continued with jazz, and I had my band, and we went to many festivals and played around and started to have gigs, paid gigs, of course, with not so much money, but we played in clubs and restaurants around the city, and then we travel around the country. Then I decided that I would really like to do my master's in jazz in a place where they have been teaching that for a longer time. And I thought also about Paris, because I speak French. Romanian is a francophone country, and we learn French in school. But I found this. Actually, through Paris, I found this European, jazz program, which had Paris, Amsterdam, and other things. But I don't know, I think I missed the application period, and I found this Nordic Master of Jazz, which was Denmark, Sweden, Finland, and Norway. And I applied for that, and I applied to Denmark, because you had to apply to a certain home country. Like a home university, it was a home university, and for me in that program it was Denmark in Aarhus.
But is this a Nordic program created for everybody? Or? It's Nordic
they didn't have any limits, like from which country you should be. Everybody can apply. That certain year I had a colleague from Denmark, another one from Norway, and Peedu Kas was from Estonia. Actually, Peedu was the Sibelius Academy student, like his home university was Sibelius Academy. But they had application sessions in each of these 4, and then you could you could get in through one of these.
All right.
I didn't know at that time that many details. I just found the info. I applied. I got called for an audition, and that's how my Nordic journey
started. And so how did you find Aarhus? Was it a good experience?
Yeah, it was a good experience. The city, the first time, it was very windy and cold. I remember, like, the wind took me off the street the first time. It was so strong.
Yeah.
But it was a very nice experience. Schape, Jens Schape Jensen from there, he's the head of the jazz department. He's still there. Heading managing the department. He was a very good person for us.
What's his instrument? I don't
saxophone.
know. Oh, saxophone. Okay.
Yeah, he's also leading the big band there.
Okay.
And it was hands-on. We even had a gig in the beginning. We had a little tour to Aalborg, and it was a very nice experience and a very nice connections with the musicians.
There. Denmark is a strong, jazz country and a strong American tradition because many people moved there and
Aarhus was not yet I think I've heard about Copenhagen, that's a very strong American tradition. But in Aarhus, it goes also towards more contemporary, maybe free jazz. They have both there.
Yeah.
And also Butch Lacey was at that time still there teaching. And he was maybe living in Copenhagen, but traveling, and we had lessons with him as well. Or some sessions.
Very good. Yeah. And how long did that take to your masters?
It took 2 years, and we had 1 semester in each country.
Okay.
And by the time we came, so we went from Aarhus to Stockholm to KMH to the Kungliga Musikhögskolan. And then we came to Finland, to Sibelius Academy. And here for the next semester, for some reason, Norway, Trondheim was... or they decided to get out of the program, so they asked, where would you like to, what do you want to do? Do you want to go to your home university? And that by the time I met my nowadays husband, and I said I would stay in Finland.
Okay, so you met in Finland?
Yeah, we met.
Okay.
We met in Finland.
All right, but what do you mean that you went to Stockholm to the Kungliga? So is it like 1 year per school?
1 semester per school.
1 semester, okay.
It's very off. We change very often. New pillows, new everything, forks, knives. So I traveled. Yeah, it was 1 semester in Aarhus, then the next one in.
And
Stockholm.
you have to arrange your accommodation and everything.
They helped us actually they found the rooms for us, so they had them reserved. So we didn't. We went to the specific place. We paid all the rent and everything, but they helped us with that.
Okay.
That was very good actually.
Very nice. All right. Okay, and then Finland, and you found your husband, and things started developing.
Yes.
In the personal area also.
Yeah.
And how long have you been here?
So I came in beginning of September 2012. So 12 and a half, 13 years. This year it's going to be in September.
But you have been going back to Romania to record, and you're traveling quite a lot.
Yeah, I travel and we travel. Nowadays we travel a bit separately because of the kids. It's easier. But I travel. We travel a lot. We traveled actually very much these years around the world and everywhere. And we're recording actually most of beside my first album, which I did before I came to Finland, the next CDs, I recorded all of them actually in Finland. In Kallio-Kuninkala. And in Yle, one we got to do in the M1 studio before it was teared down.
That's right. But 100 Romania, that's with the Moldovan youth. Okay, that's a fantastic piece. I was listening last night. Very nice, like film music vibe, and very nice composition.
Thank you.
It's your composition and the arrangement by Sampo Kasurinen.
Well, actually, this is folklore music.
Yeah.
All the 3 tunes from there.
Okay.
And I already had some arrangements because we did that with my previous band in Romania for this Mochiriță, and there are these traditional songs. which I took into my repertoire before coming to Finland.
Yeah.
But then I gave them to Sampo because in 2018 it was the 100th anniversary of independence for Romania.
All right.
1 year after Finland. So, and I got some funds, and I asked Sampo to do something with the three of them to make this make this medley actually together, and he did a great work.
That's right.
So we collaborated with Sampo before. There's another tune on that album called Alice.
Yeah.
And if I'm not wrong, that was Sampo Kasurinen first tune written for orchestra. And it was, I'm very happy that we collaborated in the end. We collaborated with Arturi Rönkä. And I remember we were in the music house cafeteria, and Arturi said he's a bit busy now. He cannot write another tune. He already wrote a tune. And Sampo was nearby us, and he said, but you know who I would totally recommend to write a tune for your project? Sampo would be wonderful. So that's how it started. I was like, Sampo, what do you know about violins and this kind of? He's like, I'm acquainting with this.
He's very good.
He's wonderful. He developed very much since then, and he's very engaged now, like everywhere.
And how do you approach the Moldovan Youth Orchestra? How did you find them?
Well, the conductor and actually the founder, they have already been for 12 years. I think Andriano Marian, he has been my colleague in my university, in my bachelor studies in Cluj. He was studying conducting, and we had the same courses, and we kept in touch. And just before the pandemic, we all the time communicated we should do something together.
Yeah.
And then I've been having this symphonic project since 2014, and I said, let's do this together. Let's have new things. And I applied for funding. We got the funding to make a tour. We had 4 concerts in the autumn of 2020.
Okay.
And of course, in March, we had to postpone, postpone. First, we thought that we would postpone, but we had to cancel everything, as everybody around the world. But then it came to me this idea, because they said that we cannot transfer the funding for the next year. And I thought, what if we do this from a distance? Because I saw, everybody started to do these live transmissions. And of course, the latency was a big problem. And then I thought, and I came up with this system how to solve it. And I thought that, even if they're complicated tunes, each composer can do this click track, which is very complicated when you have all kinds of bars, tempos, and so on. So they did that. We recorded our part in Finland. We also videotaped. Yeah. And then I thought that they would do that in a studio in Moldova. That was the plan. Yeah. And then Andriano told me that, we're going to actually do a concert.
Okay.
With you on the screens.
Oh.
And I said, that's a wonderful idea, but are you sure you can pull this together?
Yeah.
And he said, well, yeah. He was like, I think we can. But I said, that if it goes wrong, it's like a click track, you have to be there like 100% from the beginning until the end. Yeah. He said, we will make it somehow. He has this style, like very romantic style. And they did it.
They did it. Okay, so your studio track was there on the screen.
The video.
The video.
And our audio.
The audio also.
Yes.
Okay.
And they were they had 2 screens on the side and the orchestra in the middle, and the conductor and the concertmeister and some other, I think the leads had earphones, but not all the musicians in the orchestra.
And also audience.
The audience was there. Of course, he heard everything except the click track. Okay, so the click track was only for the conductor. And they recorded everything. And then they sent it back to us, to Finland. Yeah. And Joona Saikkonen did the mastering, and then we did the mixing here.
This is one of the strangest recordings I've ever heard. But it works. You can't hear a thing. It sounds perfectly normal. Listening it. Yeah.
Thanks for saying that. Yeah, it was a big thing to pull off, and I think I had wonderful people around making this possible.
Wow. Okay, let's jump into the main thing, your doctoral thesis. First, I have some questions about the doctoral program. How do you pick your subject to be a jazz doctor? Can you decide yourself, or is it with the cooperation with your professor, or how does it go?
Well, I think it's very individual. It depends on each of us. But in my case, it was a bit different, the subject in the beginning of my studies.
Yeah.
I wanted to, it's of course related to jazz voice. And I always had this theory that it's a certain sound that it has. But of course, to that sound, you have the rhythmic aspects, the melodic aspects, the lyrics and everything. But I wanted to more technically have a look through spectrograms in the beginning. So that was my choice, of course. And you apply and you propose this project, and it was accepted. Yeah. But then we thought that that's very hard to be shown. And together with my coordinator, we decided it would be better maybe to focus on the variation part, the second. Then we focused even more on the second chorus.
Let me say the subject. It's exploring the second chorus in vocal jazz. That is the topic. That is the topic. Now you're gonna hear everything about this. Okay. So it's in a collaboration with your. Okay. Does your topic does it have to be something new that no one else has never done?
Yes. It has to be something new that hasn't been researched.
Okay.
Of course, many things and many topics have been from a certain point of view researched. Yeah. So, but yes, it has to be preferably groundbreaking, but that's very hard. It's a very big word, and they like to be, as Kone wants to, to be brave and rohkea. It's a hard thing to find. Mm-hmm. And it's especially for music. We don't cure cancer or not
that's right.
corona.
Yeah.
But yes, it has to be. Okay. It has to be new. It has to be something very little, in a little manner, explored or researched.
And when you start a project like this, do you have to go through many other doctoral theses?
Of course.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, you go through what's out there.
Yeah.
What has been written, and how this has been has it been researched?
Yeah,
how has it been researched?
Yeah.
What has been written about it? So it's very sources are very important, and references and bibliography. So it is very important. Then it's also important maybe to have a certain plan of what are you going to base on and how you're going to do this research. A plan which will change many times, but it's very important that you have an initial plan where you start from.
Okay.
So the research, you could the bibliography you base on and have an idea.
Yeah.
For example, it changed for me because in the beginning I thought that I could focus on the 50s. Mm-hmm. And then I noted with this subject, because with the previous one I was clear that I will take only the 50s and analyze those recordings. But it changed because it was not that easy to find examples only from the 50s. And this is not a practice that's been present only in the 50s. Yeah. Because then I was very interested to see where did it come from, which was the first, or where did it start from. So what are the beginnings, which is still hard to know 100% all the time. Yeah. And then I found some examples also from every decade actually, and even from the 2022, 23, the latest ones. So then I actually realized myself that it doesn't help me in this case to make it only in the 50s for the 50s.
Okay. And how do you find your material? Is all the jazz doctoral material in the internet? From the United States, I think Berkeley and Manhattan School of Music are the two places you can do a doctoral in the States? There must be many other places.
I don't know about Berkeley. You can also do in Juilliard something.
Okay.
Maybe in Manhattan, but they have lately actually, and I was planning to go. Maybe not. I will go at some point, but to Rutgers University in New Jersey. They have like they say it's the largest jazz archive in the world that they have there. They have this Institute of Jazz at Rutgers University in New Jersey, and I'm in contact actually. Jaska Lukkarinen has been also visiting that place, and he said they also have their online database, and so that's one place, and then the University of the Arts, Sibelius Academy has, of course, subscriptions to many databases.
Okay.
And I think that nowadays system or way of working, they try to get as many articles and research and writings to be open access.
Yeah.
So actually, that's one important thing that they militate or they fight for. I think the research world.
Yeah.
That you don't have to have a subscription, that you can find them and freely. And they are accessible, because this is not something that people make profit by reading them. And it's knowledge that should be freely shared with the others.
Yeah.
Because, it can even cost sometimes some thousands of euros to publish in a journal, which sometimes the university can cover, or you cover yourself. And that's in the arts, but in the medicine or these other fields, it's a super precious thing. Like I heard about 15,000 and these kind of sums to pay to have your article published in a certain publication.
Okay, but what is the publication? Is it the jazz magazine or?
Well, my article has been published in Sibelius Academy journal called Trio, and it's a peer-reviewed journal, and it has a certain status, and it's internationally recognized, and you can publish, in Trio's case, in Finnish, Swedish, or English.
Yeah.
And until last year, they had it focused on classical music, and now they accept material from other genres, which is wonderful. They actually also during last year they accepted the whole year. They publish 2 times a year, and I was planning in the beginning. I was thinking about Journal of Voice. Then there's the Jazz Studies Journal, and there are a lot of journals, but some of them they are not fully open access. So
Yeah. Okay. Well, I will include some of your material with this episode, but I just wanna show how it looks. I have the honeysuckle rose here. Let me see. Okay. Please open this, and here you can see the lead sheet. Da 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 da. The first chorus. Da 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 da. But then this is the beef of the whole thing. Second chorus, which is totally different than the lead sheet and the first chorus. But this is what you're focusing on.
Yes, I'm focusing on that.
The second chorus, which is, it has to be the beginning of the solo, or kind of a segue from the melody to the scat solo, or both things, right?
Yeah, it can be both.
Yeah.
The second chorus, I define the second chorus as being the second time when we present the theme. We restate the theme with the same lyrics. That's very important, because it's the same set of lyrics, and as a singer and as a performer, you kind of say the same story, but then you have different punctuation or accents or phrasing, or which happens in the case of Sarah, and it happens in the case of many singers. And I've been using, I have been also using the second chorus, but I've never thought about it this way. So now I've been actually, when you ask where do I find examples, for example, I was thinking in the beginning, how do I find example? Because there are all these albums and recordings around the world. Where do I start from? Because I just realized that I've been listening to music in a very I've never, I've been enjoying the music. I was not analyzing.
Yeah.
But then I have to re-listen with the researcher's ear, and from that point of view,
Yeah.
and even nowadays, sometimes if I do something else while I listen, I miss the fact, was there a second chorus? So did she go, or did he go directly to the scat, or we just, now the next tune is happening, what was there?
Yeah.
So then I have to really focus and have a look. And did he or she use the same lyrics? Because there are some standards where we have a second set of lyrics, since they're coming from the Broadway repertoire, the Great American Songbook.
That's right. I think this is something that is only in jazz music. I mean, and maybe one of the reasons is that many jazz standards are kind of short tunes. I mean, they are 32 bars or something like that. So since it's the singer's name on the album, there has to be some singing. Otherwise, it's you can't hear the singer a lot. I mean, if she only sings the melody once.
Yeah.
So, and then somebody's blowing saxophone for 4 minutes. So that is kind of, I think, the origin of the second chorus.
Yes, you're very right. Yes,
probably. Oh,
yeah, because
maybe I'll start my own jazz doctoral thing. Oh my God!
I will call.
I just made this up. But
yeah. Actually, that's also one because I made a little argument there where it started. Or I had a look at this history. I tried to think like, where did it come from, and that's one reason that it brings out the personal interpretation and the voice of a singer, and especially in a live situation, it gives more time to explore the tune, and then the advantage with that is that for the public, it's going to be already a known tune when you sing it the second time.
That's right.
And
that's right.
Yes, it's and
it's very personal what the singer does in the second chorus.
Very personal.
Yeah. Okay.
And I have to mention that, of course, there is already a certain variation in the first chorus, and actually that's why I cannot look at the second chorus without considering the first chorus. So that's why in my transcriptions I have the first chorus as well. So I put this, the lead sheet, how it was notated by the composer, which is like a approximate notation, as we know.
Yeah.
And then the first chorus, and then how she goes deeper. And I made the analysis for. That's why you will find the 3 staves there. And then another reason at that time, it was also the vinyl and the key echo, the size that could be fit in actually. Yeah. So there are many aspects.
The record before vinyl.
The record, yes.
The shorter one.
Yes, the short. It was very short.
Yeah.
So there are many aspects to take into consideration. Then who's accompanying? Is it a smaller band, a trio most of the time, because that was cheaper, or a big band? And with a big band, then you don't have in the same manner the freedom of playing around with the structure of the tune.
Yeah.
So they have the arrangements. And then it's very important to have a look. Okay, so they took this into consideration in the arrangement.
Yes.
Compared to a small band, when you just say like, let's take it once more.
Okay.
I think.
Yeah.
And then studio versus live. So very many of the examples that I've found it was much easier to find them on live albums.
Yes, because it's naturally, the tune is naturally longer live. Yeah, you don't want to make 2.5 minutes performances. Yeah. Who is the master of the second chorus with the lyrics variations? Or who is your top 3?
My that's a very my top 3. It's very hard. This is going to be very subjective.
Yeah.
Well, I would start, of course, since last year we celebrated 100 years from Sarah Vaughan's birth.
Yeah.
That was also one reason why I chose her as a focus of my article. So, of course, I have Sarah. I love Ella, is a wonderful example.
Yeah.
Who would be? It's very hard to choose only 3. Sarah and Ella for sure. But I found I had many surprises. Of course, Carmen McRae does a wonderful thing with the melodies and with the lyrics. Betty Carter is exceptional with the way she encompasses rhythm, and then all the passing tones and the melodies that she's choosing.
Yeah.
But I go over the three. I need to mention Ernestine Anderson. It was a surprise for me. I really love the way she treats the melody in the second chorus. I didn't listen to her before, or maybe I didn't take her so much into consideration before. But now, listening to her again from this point of view, and it's like I love the way she treats the melody.
Wow. And when they go into scat solo, that is not part of your thesis.
It's not part of my thesis, but it's of course. I would say that the second chorus is somehow not the primitive, but like a esikuva, like a predecessor maybe of the scat solo. I could like from this point of view. And it's an improvisation with lyrics from a point of view. It has many levels, and I've also noticed from the examples that I've found that it can also kind of replace a scat solo. So I have very few examples where we have a scat solo after the second solo chorus. I have only one. I will find it. It was Ella's After Hours or Those Well. She was. It was a live recording of hers, and
it's in the long list of recording.
It's in the long list. I don't have a transcription. But as you can notice, also in Honeysuckle Rose, which I transcribed, and also in just one of those things, we don't have actually a second chorus. A scat solo after the second chorus. So that's an important thing to consider for just one of those things, because the structure is double, which is a bit rare. It has 64 bars instead of 32.
That's right.
It's like always 16, 16, 16, 16. We don't even have another chord. We just have the first chorus and the second chorus. And that's it.
All right. And when things develop and you finish your thesis, then you have what is it called, karonka?
Yes.
But who is your opponent on the doctoral? What is? I'm not good with the terms. Väitöstilaisuus in Finnish. Defending, yes.
It's not yet, because I still have a lot to do. This is just the first article. It's one element out of maybe 6, because I'm writing another article, and I'm doing a CD, and I'm doing a CD with a trio, because I take this small ensemble in the studio, and then I will do a live concert with a big band, which is the live and the larger ensemble or orchestra.
And all this is part of the doctoral.
Yes, it's part of the thesis. So it still takes, but I don't know. I still have some years until I have the defending situation.
That's the end of the project.
That's the end of the project, and we have to write the final thesis where we incorporate. We take all these. In my case, 2 articles and these 2 artistic components, they call them, and put them together, and I will,
All right, a lot of work still ahead.
Yes.
What is the significance for a jazz doctoral degree to you? I mean, does it have a special personal meaning that you had the inner urge or desire that you want to achieve? The next question will be, what is the significance for the jazz? But does it have a personal significance for you?
Oh, that's a hard. Well, it started in a different. I think in Romania we don't take these gap years, and the people continue to study. I was very interested to actually explore more. It connected to my master's thesis or the subject, the first one with the spectrographic analysis. So that's why I applied. I wanted to explore more. So I think that's the personal connection.
Yeah.
And I did it immediately when I graduated my master's and I applied. And then meanwhile I had to take a little break because of the kids and work and the career and everything, learning Finnish. Yes. But now I find it as this is a exploration also of my own skills as a singer. From this point of view, I put myself in a bit uncomfortable, but in a nice way uncomfortable situation.
Yeah.
So it's a continuous exploration of my own artistry, maybe or skills as an artist.
Yeah, you kind of force yourself to learn more and explore different things. Okay, and what is the significance for jazz? What do you think?
Well, I think it's any kind of artistic research is very significant, but this one is very important for the vocal jazz field. We can maybe put a name on it, or point this and have hopefully a clear definition of it. And maybe I plan also to have this pedagogical component to write some maybe exercise. I still have to think of how to practice this. How do you practice variation?
Yeah.
And how do you take a look at things, and how because in jazz music compared to classical music, we have the recordings, and we learn from those.
That's right.
Compared to and then we write about those. We write things down. We write about. But the classical music, they don't have the recordings. They don't know how Bach played many hundred years ago. But have
the score has much more info.
So they have the things written and they play. We have the things as audio and we write them down. I think it's important also in the jazz field we also have the written down material.
That's right. And in many cases, the jazz studies are held in a same school where the classical studies happened. So in order for jazz to survive in the academic world, more doctors is a good thing, I think, for the people who look at the money and the importance of this school and what comes out. So this was explained to me by Varre Vartiainen, who was in the same podcast, and I cracked few jokes about the jazz doctors. I said that I need a personal jazz doctor. I can't breathe. I can't. Everybody needs their own jazz doctor. And he was like, calm down, stop your jokes. That he explained me that it's important in the academic world to have jazz doctors. Otherwise, jazz will lose for classical music in many cases.
That's very true, and music will lose for other fields actually. So I think it's to have artistic research, and especially in jazz, is to make the others take us into consideration. It's a bit unfortunate from a certain point of view, but it should be enough the artistry. But I think it's also from this point of view, financing and funding and so on, that they understand that this is a serious thing, and it's not something that we just play whatever. We have one piece of paper and we play 10 minutes out of that. It's like in whatever. It's a complex thing, and people study for many years before. But some people they cannot express that it is a lot of work. And people from outside, they don't know about this. So I think by doing artistic research and in this format, the way in other fields they publish the same way, this peer-reviewed article, what does it mean? This have it's the same process, like in medicine or in architecture or something.
That's right. So how much longer? What is your when will you have the hat, the doctor hat? 2 more years or 3?
I think maybe 3. Let's see how it goes. Hopefully, maybe in 3.
Okay. Is there a limitation when?
No. I have I can study until 2099.
Really?
Yes. But it gives space for development, like personal development. But I would like to try to have this wrapped up a bit earlier.
Where does it say that you can study until 2099?
In my student card.
Really?
I will show you.
Okay. You have to finish by 2099.
Yes, I will be 111 years old.
Wow. And then at some point you did something with Adam Balder.
Yes.
My favorite jazz violin player. Is this still going on, or was it just one project?
It was one project, and we did an album, and we also did actually we did a concert with the Mikkeli Orchestra with him beside the CD, but it was mostly the same material written for string orchestra. We did an album, Hope. We had everything planned for, the 15th of March. I remember these days, 2020, because on the 13th...
that was a Friday.
That was a Friday, and we should, in that weekend, Sunday, we should have been in Kallio-Kuninkala recording.
Wow.
And actually, Adam called me, I think on Monday, to tell me that, here in Poland, everything is closing. And I said, well, here in Finland is not yet. But by Friday, everything was closed.
And then Mr. Trump went and have another press conference on Thursday evening, banning all flights to US. And that actually started the real panic. That's how it started. Yeah, I remember the Friday the 13th of March, 2020, when everybody's calendars cleared. I was actually going to Mikkeli that weekend, and they cancelled less than 10 hours before the performance. It was anyway, and the craziness continues, but not in the form of virus. But let's not go into that. Yeah. Okay, what is next? What is coming next in your? Of course, you finished the doctoral thing, but what is your next project that people can hear live or listen in Spotify?
Well, I'm going to go to Bucharest. I will play with a Romanian jazz pianist, Sorin Slat, with his trio in a few weeks, in 1 week and a half. On the 26th and the 28th, we play in Bucharest, and then we play in Ploiești Philharmonic. But with the trio, they have this jazz concert series.
Okay.
Before that, actually, on the 24th, you can listen to me talking about this article in SIBA Research Days.
24th of March.
March, yes. Okay. It's a Monday and Tuesday. Sibelius Academy has this research days, and this is for SIBA because they have for the theater and for the Kuva and so on. But SIBA Research Day, then we have the concerts, and in May I will be performing again in Romania in the west part in Arad with the Arad Philharmonic Orchestra.
Okay.
So these are the next one, and meanwhile we prepare a CD for the doctoral studies.
All right. Has the world become a better place during your lifetime? What do you think?
These are hard questions. I always admire when you ask all your guests when I've been listening to your podcasts. I've been thinking these days, despite the chaos around us and the insecurity, from a certain point of view, I think it developed in a good direction. And I'm thinking about hunger, diseases. Of course, we had the pandemic, but these kind of pandemics have been along the history. And then the way women are treated and the women rights in the world, wars and inequity and injustice has been always part of the world and society. Yeah. But I see that, I think the freedom of speech in most of the part of the countries in the world. Of course, we always have certain barriers, but I try to also see how it it developed for me. My life as a mother and as a woman, it's easier. I can also work. I don't have to choose one or another, which maybe 20, 30, 50 years ago, 100, like not even possible. And the technology, and when you have kids, like they invented everything now. If you want to think about like how to dry the bottles, you have a stand, you have everything. So I think from this point of view, it went into a better direction. I
think so too. What really pisses you off?
Well, in a micro level, I will answer macro and micro. People putting their bare feet on the walls. I hate that. When they
in the walls?
Yeah, when they stay in the bed and they're like, hanging out and putting the bare feet on the walls.
Who does that? Some people in the hotel? In the hotels?
In the hotels, some people do that, and I don't like that. Like they play with that's one thing that annoys me immediately when I see it. It can be even a stranger. Like I'm like, wow. Could you please move your but as at the macro level, I think this inequity and injustice, it annoys me, because that's one thing that I'm trying to fight within myself, I have this desire to help people all the time, and which is a good thing, but it also can be a very tiring thing, because I have to that I don't have to save everybody and so on. But I don't like when I see people going through injustice, any type of racism and criminal activities and wars.
It's far from a perfect world. What happens to you after you die?
I think I will find peace.
Finally, that's the moment. Okay, that's a beautiful thought. Yeah. So the peace will come finally. Yeah. I don't want to say that it's nothing there. I know, and I respect the ones who say that. But we have been having lately, in the last years, our son has been started to ask us, maybe since he was 4, like, why? What's the purpose of this world? Why is he here? Those are very good questions.
Good and hard, very hard for us to answer.
How old is he now?
7.5.
Okay,
So I just, and this finding peace and maybe remaining in the collective memory of the world and of my kids and my maybe their kids, and in some level that I just, it helps me to think that it's not going to be lost completely.
That is a good answer and a beautiful thought as well. Well, I wish you all the best with the doctoral thesis and with everything. It was very nice talking to you.
Thank you, Ian.
Thanks. Yeah.